Why a 1 for 9 or 1 for 10 reverse stock split is actually possible for MULN Automotive at the moment. Hi again, everyone. I hope you're all doing really well. So it's the weekend, so we have time to be a bit speculative about what might be in store for MULN Automotive. Now, obviously, we've been talking a lot about potential reverse stock splits here. Obviously, we've had the proposal 4 voted on, which means that the company can now enact one if they see fit. And there's also the speculation around whether or not they indeed need to have one sometime soon. Obviously, the stock's below $1, but obviously we're talking about the stock not regaining compliance back in May, even though PR from the company sort of suggested it did. Now, my thesis on this is I think that, like, if a reverse stock split is initiated, that they are going to have to do a really big one, because I think that they need to basically create a big enough cushion that's going to not only stop the stock falling back below the $1 mark, but to keep it up for about a 2-year period of time, because that's kind of what they're going to have to deal with. And by going at the extreme end of what they can do of 1 for 100, that would really jam up liquidity, and that might be what they may try to do, because that means they've kind of really, it's going to be really hard for the stock to go back below $1 from there if it gets up to like $12. But still, that's what I thought. Now, some people think that it's possible for a 1 for 10 or even a 1 for 9 reverse stock split to take place. And that is actually true. And there's actually a bit of a case for both scenarios being, the 1 for 9 and 1 for 10 being plausible based on the $1.12 closing price on Friday. So if they go for a 1 for 10, that means that the stock price would go up to $1.20. And if they go for a 1 for 9, that means the stock will go to $1.08 based on Friday. Now, people might be thinking, yeah, this would put the stock up above $1 technically, but that's going to be very easy for shorts to like drag it right back down to below $1, and that is true. However, because we have the $25 million stock money put for a stock buyback that hasn't been touched to anyone's knowledge, David, through his CFO or the equivalent of whatever the company has, may put a somewhat metaphoric line in the sand for MULN Automotive at that point in time. So if they do a reverse stock split, they might say, okay, with this $25 million, every time the stock gets to $1.06, we'll just buy up what people are trying to sell $1.06 and put in a cushion. I don't think they will put that out as a public announcement, but that is a way that they could actually, see off, this period. They could be able to ride out a reverse stock split of a 1 for 9 or a 1 for 10 nature. And obviously, that means they'll be taking out $25 million worth of stock. So that's 25 million shares of what would be in circulation. Then there'd be about 89 million shares. So, they could ostensibly take off, almost a third of the company's stock based on that. And that would definitely kind of like really jam up, downward movement on the stock, which might be what they aim to do. Obviously it's all speculation. We don't really know where they will go from here. And obviously by keeping the reverse stock split to 1 for 9 or 1 for 10, it means that they haven't effectively reverse split their stock by more than 250 to 1 in the last 2 years, which means that if they do indeed fall back below the $1 mark, which could very possibly happen, we might, they would be able to at least get some sort of extension and relief from the NASDAQ if that happens. Now, obviously, this is a long sort of time frame that we're talking about, and given that MULN Automotive is actually starting to ramp up productions, it might be the last thing they need to kind of do just to see this phase out, and maybe hopefully we start to see some natural market momentum return to the stock. There's a case that the macro environment's actually improving. Like a lot of central banks around the world are starting to think that we've kind of seen the peak of inflation, and we're starting to see it trend down, which is obviously a good news for particularly an upstart company or like MULN Automotive, who have seen their speculative value in their stock ravaged by the threat of high inflation and obviously the accompanying high interest rates when it comes to borrowing money. Something that doesn't affect MULN because they pretty much have no debt. So perhaps they can actually get by with a 1 for 9 or a 1 for 10 reverse split, but really my gut sort of says that if we do have to have a reverse split, it's going to be a bigger one. Anyway, let me know your thoughts in the comments about it all below. I hope you're all having a good weekend. Yeah, until next time, and the market's trading in your favor. Cheers.